Continuing the story about John. At 3 a.m., so on the 5th of the 4th, 2024, at 3 a.m. this morning, John came into my room for the third time in a row, but this time he was standing over my bed for a while lingering, and I woke up because I'm a light sleeper. Each time he would sit on my bed and linger there intrusively while staring into my eyes and putting me down constantly to make me feel guilt and shame so that he can dominate me. I kept telling him to leave me alone and to get out. I told him this morning that I will get a restraining order on him, and if he doesn't leave me alone, he said that it's not possible, but I said it is possible to get a restraining order on him if we live in the same house. I didn't tell him that I saw the police. Later that morning, around 10:30 a.m., he decided to get up when he usually sleeps until 12 p.m. He got up just to be in my space, because he's a truck driver, so he doesn't have to start work till 2 p.m. Then he gets home at 3 a.m. He acted nice today before he left for work. He said he wants me to still be friends. I told him to stop coming into my room. I think we have resolved our issues and I've set boundaries. Today I texted my youngest brother to see if he wants to rent with me. The problem is I have 4 cats and he has a few dogs. He said he will sell a car and pay off another car, then apply for a home loan, and then I could live with him maybe. I'm just trying to make a safe plan out of here without causing any chaos. The 8th of April. The last day or two, John has been acting nice, kind, and generous to me. He bought me flowers, chocolate, and gifts. I think maybe he got scared when I said I would get a restraining order. In my opinion, he has 2 personalities. One is sweet, nice guy, and the other is a controlling tyrant. I told him yesterday that I am not going to repeat the same cycle repeatedly, so we won't be having a relationship again. But he won't accept that. He has it in his head that we are together. I don't like the tyrant side of him, so that's the main reason I don't want a relationship with him. He kept holding my hand and hugging me in public because he feels threatened of other men around me. He doesn't want me to look single and available. He is nearly twice my age too, so he didn't want strangers to think I was his daughter. John keeps being so nice to me that now I feel guilty about what I wrote about him. I've been contemplating if I should delete everything I said about him. My youngest brother said I could live with him eventually, but I realized I can't do that because then Mum and Dad will disown him. Mum and Dad disowned John a few days ago because they are taking it out on him that I'm living with him. They're mad because they told him that he is housing a criminal, and they don't support anyone who houses a criminal. Even though this is Dad's best friend of like 40 years or something, and they just did that to him because of me. Today is a solar eclipse, and the world is going crazy over the eclipse right now. I'm hoping it brings positive change into my life. I honestly don't know how to get Dad's best friend to respect my boundaries and leave me alone. He uses everything I say to his advantage. He thinks we are together, even though we are not. Last time I left him, he said I could have let him down slowly and that I'm cold-hearted. If I had let him down slowly, he wouldn't have respected me and my boundaries. He called me a narcissist because I cut him off. I can't keep repeating this. I'm not sure what to do. I have nowhere to go. There aren't any rentals around. I guess I'll have to stay here and pretend everything is good. I'll try not to make John mad and keep the peace as long as I can. I just want to get away. I want to be free. I'm grateful though that I have somewhere to stay. He keeps luring me in by giving me compliments and using his charm to manipulate me with. I told him if he comes in my room and stands near my bed again that I will call the police. He is a cunning and calculated guy who has years of experience on how to manipulate women. Yesterday, he said he didn't want me to go anywhere out in public because he didn't want anyone to hit on me. He said I can't wear my nice dresses in public if I'm not with him, even though we are just friends. He always puts hickeys on my neck and says I'm his property. I push him away and tell him to stop, but he still does it. Last night, one of the cats peed on my bed, and the cat litter trays were smelly, which are right outside my room. So he talked me into sleeping in his bed. I should have enforced my boundaries, but I didn't. I feel weak and easily persuaded by the devil. I saged the house again today to cleanse negative energy. I'm not sure if I should keep these last few chapters or not. They could be relevant in the future, so I might keep them. I'm not using anyone's real name. I'm just telling my story by journaling what I'm going through. Also, John put new doors in with cat flaps on the doors. But I told him not to because I didn't want him to use anything financially against me, and I didn't want him to trap me. But he did get the doors. He got the cat flap doors on his new doors, and to try and trap me to stay, and guilty if I left. So that was another thing he did. The past month has been, so the 5th of the 5th, 2024. The past month has been an absolute nightmare and emotionally draining. A few weeks ago, I had to go with John to Mandurah to one of his sister's house. He insisted that I go with him when I visit his family, and we had to make it look like we weren't together though. She was an absolute tyrant. Me and her ended up having a fight. It started because we were all sitting down in the backyard and she decided to keep yelling at John over petty little things. So I stood up for him and asked her nicely to stop. She came up to me, then threatened me by being verbally abusive and said she would call the police. She was screaming at me to leave her house, and she said that I'm never welcome back. Also, her face was red and her eyes were popping, and she was like a vicious animal when she was yelling at me. I yelled back and said, "No, I'll leave when I'm ready." I stood my ground that day. A bit later, we were all inside, and I apologized to her. She started screaming at me aggressively in my face, not accepting my apology. I just grabbed my handbag and left. I went and sat in the car until John came so I could leave. I was crying in the car. He drove down the road, parked the car, then came to my door, gave me a hug and said sorry for his sister's behavior. After that incident, John became a bit standoffish with me because now he saw me as a stronger person, and he probably felt like he could lose control over me. He saw that I wouldn't put up with abuse and that I can actually stand up for myself. He said, "Don't ever act like that. It doesn't suit your character. You remind me of your mum, so don't act like that." In the next few weeks following, John started love bombing me and buying me jewelry and things. I said I don't really want that stuff because I didn't want to feel more financially and mentally trapped. It would make me feel guilty because I wanted to leave. He also wanted to pay off my car, but I didn't want that to happen because then I didn't want him to own my car. I didn't want to owe him, especially because I didn't want to stay with him and I didn't want that guilt. I didn't want to get in trouble either or anything like that, so I didn't let him pay off my car. I'm still paying it off myself. Mind games and outcasted. I was constantly under oppression from John. Oppression until I couldn't even catch my breath anymore. Yeah, my chest was so tight all the time. Because I felt so suppressed, like he took the air from my lungs. I got anemia from low iron too, and other health issues which I believe was created from being oppressed. I was probably going to get the issues anyway, but it probably made the health issues come quicker. Some mind games he played was, 1, he would wait until I've walked all the way to the other side of the house, and it was a pretty big house too. Really big house. Then call me back across the house until I came, just to tell me to pass him something from the bench right next to him, because he couldn't be bothered getting it himself. He did this all the time, without fail. It became predictable. 2, he would try and make me react and be angry, because he would do things like repeatedly saying, yeah, yeah, after I already answered him. I would answer his question, and then he would say, yeah, yeah. Like, it was so annoying. And it drained my energy. Oh, you can't see her face. So cute. She's a cutie. Once, Anne agreed with him. As time went on, I didn't keep agreeing with him after answering him once, and he thought I had a problem. I just don't like being talked down to like that, and it made me exhausted answering him all the time, repeatedly. He said it doesn't suit me getting mad, and to not get mad, but he was trying to make me mad on purpose. He said I'm just like my mum when I get angry. He compared me to her a lot, put me down, even like my cooking. Like when he did let me cook, without overtaking my cooking as well. And he'd say, it's like mum's cooking. He said something like pig food or something. I don't know. And talking on the phone was extremely draining. All of my energy. Every day. When he went to work, he would call me and expect me to talk to him for hours, sometimes to 3 a.m. when he got home. He took all my time, my space, my independence, and I was drained. Like my eyes had like black underneath them from being tired and drained, emotionally drained, physically drained. I felt obligated to talk to him though, because he was letting me stay there and providing for me. I just felt suffocated. I started to look unwell, like I said, with baggy eyes, exhaustion. Also the weight gain from being stressed. And I was even eating healthier, and I was putting on weight just from stress. And also he was also giving me chocolate all the time when he knew I was trying to lose weight. He wasn't doing it to be sweet. It was frustrating when I wanted some me time and put on a movie, and he kept calling me and interrupting. I felt angry inside, but I stayed calm and just talked to him. I never got to watch a full movie all the way through while living with John. I had no time for anything except him. If I had time, I would go to the gym, then clean the house so it was spotless before he came home complaining. Even when I cleaned, he complained that the house was dirty, so there was no point cleaning. I met a female friend at the beach. When I was eventually allowed to go to the beach, it was like the very end of summer, and it was starting to get cold, and he finally let me go. Oh my God. John was putting fear into me to not hang out with her. He said I can't let people in the house and not to make friends because they will poison me against him and make us break up. I couldn't do my clothes alteration business because he didn't allow anyone in the house. So yeah, I didn't have a job, and I was trying to think of business ideas. But I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. He said his house was my house too, but he didn't let me feel like it was my house. John also got mad at me when I talked to my family, um, or even hinting that I wanted to see my family. He kept saying my family are evil and sent by evil forces. He said they will poison my mind against him too. One time, I accidentally locked myself outside of the house because I didn't realize the door locked from the inside when you shut it. I rang him to explain what I had done, and when I told him, he got so aggressively abusive and angry towards me. He was saying I'm stupid and that something's wrong with me. And that, yeah, he said heaps of things like I'm mental, crazy, stupid. Just kept putting me down. John said only I would do something that stupid, and my brain is stupid. He said I'm all vaxxed up and I'm a low life just like my parents. He kept going on and on harassing me. I made my way back inside though, through the laundry. I cried for about an hour because of all the abuse. John said a lot more than what I've written above. I think I blocked a lot out of my memory. Yeah, all the abuse was going on for about an hour or something on the phone. One time, one of John's daughters that lives in Perth was having a birthday party for her child. She said she doesn't want me there. That was fine with me, just hurtful because I didn't do anything wrong against her. I didn't want to go anyway because I didn't want to become entangled in his family, especially if I wasn't planning on staying with him. I felt like I got forced into a relationship. It was all strategic plan, and he groomed me. I guess that can happen to adults too. Not too long ago, John and I went to Albany to visit his daughters and grandchildren. We stayed in a hotel. We had to pretend that I was staying with a brother because he wanted to hide our relationship from his family. The whole time we had to lie, and we almost got caught out a few times while we were there. The first night in Albany, we went to visit one of his daughters. She was the nicer one. Then later I stayed at the hotel while John went to visit his second daughter in Albany. I didn't go to see his second daughter because I had to do my job search for Centrelink. When John came back to the hotel, we left and went back to visit the other daughter again. Oh yeah. So she was having a small bonfire in her backyard. We enjoyed the visit there. The next night, John and I went to a public enclosed barbecue area where both his daughters that lived in Albany and their children were all meant to meet up. They all arrived, and one of his daughters didn't even acknowledge my existence when we were introduced. John tried introducing me and his daughter twice, but she didn't care. John says my family is toxic, but his family is toxic too. I was an outcast to his family. The other daughter slowly warmed up to me and was nice. The next morning, he went to kiss me but then pulled away. That morning, we had to get up early so I could put all my luggage in his car because his daughters were coming to the hotel for breakfast and to suss it out. When his daughters came for breakfast, when we went down to the breakfast area, the lady almost gave it away at the front that I was staying there. She said, She said 2 guests and a walk-in. 2 guests and 2 walk-ins. Lucky the daughters didn't pick up on that mistake. That almost got us caught out. On the 3rd day, we drove home, a very long drive. He felt emotionally cold and detached. And I felt uncomfortable because of how touchy and close he was with his granddaughters and taking photos of them in a creepy way, and also of another young girl that was at his daughter's house. It was only creepy because they didn't really want to be bothered with a camera in their face. He didn't show me the photos, so I thought he's blocking me out emotionally, or he's being creepy and wants to use the photos for other things. Also, the boys, like his grandkids that were boys, he paid no attention to them. It was only the girls. So it made me quite sus about him. And because one of his girlfriends that he dated when he was 40 was a 15-year-old, so I already had that in my mind as well. A week goes by, and there is tension between us. He wasn't talking to me or showing affection like he was before we left. I think he wanted me to think that he was being gross with the photos because he took his phone into the bathroom with him, which he never does. It was just a game to make me think something gross, to make me look crazy if I questioned his behavior. He knew what he was doing. He's twice my age and has lots more life experience, so he knows how to manipulate women. At the end of that week, I called the police. When I was on the phone to him, I called the police because when I was on the phone to him, he became abusive to me and I got scared. The reason he got so angry is because we were talking about intuition, and my intuition was that he was a bit too close with his granddaughters. So I told him that on the phone, expecting him to reassure me that it's not true. Instead, he got extremely defensive and volatile. That night is when our relationship finally ended. I had 44 missed calls. I wasn't going to answer the phone just to be abused. I also want to talk about when he kept telling me he loves Margaret Robbie and kept talking about her. He didn't know I did a painting of her, and I showed him and gave it to him. He said, "Wow, won't you get jealous?" I said, "No, I don't get jealousy anymore. I've healed that inner demon of jealousy." "Well, you should be jealous. Put it away." So I put the painting away and didn't react to him. He didn't even say I did a good job or anything nice. The police said I can take him to court and get charges put against him and get a restraining order, but I closed the case because I'm happy enough that the police helped me escape, and that's really all I needed from them. Anyway, that's going a bit ahead of time. So when I finally left John, almost a week after going to Albany, the day I got 44 missed calls, and before John came home that morning at 3 a.m., I talked to the police from the local police station on the phone. I told them that I was scared of how he would treat me when he got home. 2 officers came over to talk to me. I explained that he was harassing me and how I received 44 missed calls from him. They left and told me that they would be on call and not too far away. They also said to ring 000 if he opens my bedroom door and forces himself in. The police also said to go to the bathroom and scream so the neighbors can hear, which I didn't do. 3 a.m. when John came home, he came to my bedroom door and I yelled, "Don't come in!" He forced himself in. Then I rang 000. He was yelling at me while I was on the phone to 000. He was saying, "Don't call the police to my own house." The officer on the phone to 000 transferred me to the officers which were waiting nearby. John took my house keys off me, locked all the doors inside the house so I couldn't escape. I started packing a suitcase with a few necessities and my laptop. He forced me to stay in my room and go to bed. I was about to surrender and do that, but thankfully the officers came to the front door. I got a call from them to go to the front door. I couldn't open the door because it was key-locked shut. I was banging on the door to get the police officer's attention. John finally opened it for me. I went out to talk to them. He was pretending to lock me out. I went back inside through the garage, which John decided to unlock, to get my suitcase and car key. After getting my stuff, I tried opening the garage door inside the house, but it was locked. I went outside the front and told the police the door was locked. Dad's best friend came outside, John, came outside and acted like a jerk to the police, then unlocked the door. He was telling them that I am crazy and insane and have no money. Yeah, he was saying I was mental and stuff, and then the police asked me later if I was mental, and I said no, I'm not mental. But they had to check anyway. So I have to stay there with him. I grabbed my cats and put everything I needed in my car. I had my nightgown on too, because it was like 3 a.m. and I looked like shit. I needed in my car, then reversed out onto the outside driveway, outside the garage. John told me to stay and clean up the house. The police said ignore him. The police were trying to find me temporary accommodation, but failed due to the time of the morning. I told the police I will drive to Mount Barker and stay at my Nana and Pop because I was talking to my brother, my youngest one, at the time, and he said he will contact Nana and Papa for me and give me their number and everything and organize going there. I followed the police to the police station. They talked me through a few things and told me to drive safely because it was a 3 to 4 hour drive from Bunbury to Mount Barker. One of the officers told me that when I arrived to text him that I was safe, so I did that. I arrived at my Nan and Pop's house at 7 a.m. in the morning, which was good because that's when my Nan is usually up anyway. I looked like absolute crap and was wearing my nightgown. My grandparents let me in and told me to have a shower and everything. They weren't thrilled to see me, but they cared enough that they wanted me safe. It was unexpected for them, and also the whole abuse thing about my dad had them a bit standoffish with me. The next day, my auntie in Bunbury rang me and asked me why I didn't stay at hers. I said, well, you are friends with him, and I didn't want him harassing me. And also, she did backstab me a few times. So. Well, she still has all my boxes at her house. But I'll get into that later. I told her everything that happened. Apparently, he called her and asked where I was and told her that he thinks I'm in a women's shelter. So he has no idea where I am unless someone tells him. If he comes near me, I will call the police and get a restraining order. I feel sad because I've left everything I own behind and now I have to start again, all over again. I've started again so many times now. Like, I'm so used to it. And it feels like the last 10 years have been a total waste and I have nothing to show for it except that I've gotten older. I'm back in Mount Barker, where I went to high school. I'm grateful my Nan and Pop are letting me stay here. I wasn't sure if they would accept me after everything between me and Dad, and also me blocking all my family in the past, like on social media. They said they aren't taking sides, just looking after their grandchild, but that was a lie. Eventually it comes out they did take sides with Dad. They don't want to know what has happened, and they don't want to be involved in drama. So I have no one to talk to, but at least I have a roof over my head. Which they lied about that. They used it against me, that I didn't tell them anything, even though they didn't want to know. They're just manipulators. Anyway, so I'm financially struggling again, and I'm looking for work in Albany, Perth, and Mount Barker, hoping something will pop up for me. After moving back to my nan and pops, I get along a lot better with them than before when I lived there. I'm not scared of Papa like I was. I still feel like a burden though. Papa is building a cat enclosure on the veranda so my cats can go outside. I'm so grateful. It's true that time heals things. We can rebuild relationships after time passes. I get along good with Papa now. I'm just keeping the peace and treading carefully. Which that was all a lie because things went to crap. I'll talk about that in a bit. I've applied for about at least 50 rental properties and hundreds of jobs. I'm praying and hoping something comes up and doors open for me soon. In the past, John had given me money over bank transfers, but he labelled them as loans on the transaction. Even though he said to me in person, "Don't worry about paying it back." Now that I'm not living there, I don't know if he'll use that against me. He should be lucky I closed the police case. He could have gotten into a lot of trouble. I could have taken it further. He committed crimes by not letting me escape the house and coming in my room. All my stuff is at his house, but I don't want to go back there, so I'll just slowly rebuild my life again. I had a box there with all my Etsy handmade products, so I've had to shut off my Etsy shop now. Wasn't selling anything anyway. One thing he did, which was mean, was kept giving me chocolate when I said I'm trying to lose weight, which I briefly talked about. Then he poked my belly and smirked like he was purposely making me fat. I could pick up his body language, so I knew what he was trying to do. I was going to the gym a lot too, because I was getting heavier. It was caused from being oppressed and having no job too. He denied that he poked my belly, gaslighting me. On the 7th of the 5th, 2024. I'm back to square one with no money, job, or even a rental. I had a job interview today, but someone else got it. I might have to sell my car. I'm so lost right now, and I don't even care what happens anymore. I'm at a point where I'm just drained from life. It feels like my whole adulthood has been for absolutely nothing, because now I don't have anything or anything to show. I went through all that stuff for nothing. The first few nights back at my nan and pop's house, I had to put up with smelling cat litter in my room every night. My papa built a cat enclosure attached to my bedroom window. Now the cat litter is outside, so I feel a bit more comfortable. I'm just worried about when I have no money at all. I don't want to be a burden. They are pensioners and live sparingly. They live like peasants. I couldn't ask them to feed me as well, because they have already done so much for me. The 8th of the 5th, 2024. Today I got a call from a cafe job I applied for in Albany, which got rejected, but then they decided to give me a trial. So I'm going to do a trial there tomorrow. Yesterday, the manager sent me a message and said I didn't get the job. Someone else with more experience got it. Today he called me to give me a chance anyway. He said I'll fit in there. I also looked at a rental and applied for it. I know I don't have the money to cover the bond and rent, but I'm just going with the flow and having faith everything will work out. It's a nice unit, but a mother and young children went to look at it, and I think they will have more of a chance than me at getting it. Today I'm getting my youngest cat spayed and microchipped. It's more expensive than I was quoted, so I'm a little bit stressed. Today the job that rejected me told me to come in for a trial, so I did, and it was fun. Today I had to message the manager of that job and say I can't work there for 2 weeks because I have to do an activity course for Centrelink to get paid. I would only get less than 20 hours a week at that workplace anyway, and it would be a conflict because I can't do the course and work at the same time. I had to choose one. I would have cancelled Centrelink if it had have been a full-time job. Today I'm starting to feel guilty for leaving John because he paid for everything, and I can't pay him back. He paid for me and my cats to move here to WA, and he paid for my food and even my car insurance. I feel bad and I feel like I owe him something for all he has done for me. I'm still in debt. I feel like being with John was a small financial relief for a while. But it got to the point where I felt like I'd rather be financially struggling than stay there and put up with abuse. I'm now back to financially struggling now and am $10,000 in debt, $7,000 owing on my car, and $3,000 on my credit card. I'm considering selling my car and evening out my finances. I'm not sure what to do. I'll pray and meditate and wait for God to send me a miracle. Even if I wanted a rental, I don't get paid enough from Centrelink to pay the rent, and I don't have much savings, so I won't be able to pay a bond. I'll just have to somehow miraculously save up. This afternoon, I was sitting on my bed scrolling social media when my nana came in. She started yelling at me because she had just got off the phone with my dad. Apparently, John got back in contact with Dad and Dad told Nana that I still haven't apologized to him for things I witnessed him do when I was a child to my sister. He also told Nana to ask me what I want done with all my stuff at John's house. Nana yells at me, telling me, "You have to say sorry to Dad. He's our son." Even though I did say sorry to him years ago and he didn't accept it. In fact, he disowned me. She kept saying, "You're lying. I don't believe that you said sorry to him." Even up until when I was leaving Nana and Papa's house, she kept having a go at me, saying I was lying and saying that she'll never forgive me. But I'll go into that later. Then Nana made me feel terrible because I didn't tell her I was in a relationship with John. She wouldn't even listen to my story of how I became trapped in a toxic relationship or how controlling it was. She just said I didn't tell her. But when I tried telling her everything, she said she didn't want to get involved. So that's why I didn't talk about John and my situation. She didn't want to know, then used it against me when she didn't know. She said, "Now I have you staying in my house and I don't really want you here now." She literally made me feel unwelcome the whole time I lived there. And I was literally walking on eggshells. Not literally, but I told her to tell John to take all my stuff to the tip and chuck it all out. She has to tell Dad, then Dad will tell John to take my stuff to the tip. I wish I never came and stayed here with my Nana Pop. It's toxic. I'm already treading on eggshells. I wish I had somewhere safe and sound for me and my cats to go. Everything I do or say gets used against me. My family seems to do this a lot. I feel so numb and lost. I wish I knew what to do. I was feeling suicidal today because I feel so done with life just attacking me. I don't feel welcome or safe anywhere right now. I wish I had have stayed in Victoria and faced being homeless. It would have been better than coming over here where everyone seems to be abusive and controlling. It would have been better if I stayed over there. I don't trust people anymore. I am crying right now because I'm so depressed and trapped. If anyone else that reads this is going through struggle, I recommend not moving in with family members. It will probably become toxic. I feel like I must stay in my room now and isolate like I've done my whole life. Living with toxic people. When will I ever get a lucky break, and when will life work out for me? I'm thinking of taking my cats and driving far away. I'm not sure where to, but I don't want to be here. And I love my cats and want to be with them. I don't feel welcome anywhere, and I don't belong here. I don't belong anywhere. 14th of the 5th, 2024. On Mother's Day, my Nana hugged me and said she loved me. So I took that as a half apology. It's more peaceful living here now, even though I always feel like I've outstayed my welcome here. I've apologized to my dad over text, so I have proof in writing of my apology, so he can't say I didn't apologize this time. I said, "Hi Dad, it's your daughter. I'm messaging you to apologize. I am sorry for all the pain I caused you in your life and for going to the police about abuse. I was young and hurt and had unhealed childhood issues. I acted in anger and impulsiveness when I saw the police. God must see your heart and sees you're a good person, so the police dropped the case. God loves you and I love you. Please forgive me." Dad said, "Will you remove the book and YouTube videos from the internet?" Me, already done. Dad, okay, as long as you're no longer hurting me, then I forgive you. Me, thank you. After all these years, our issues have been resolved. I still don't really want to see him in person though, because I don't get along with him. He is too opinionated and domineering, which makes it hard to have a normal conversation with. Today I also started my Centrelink online course. It was interactive because it was learning over video chat with a class. I got interrupted with a phone call for a job interview tomorrow. It's for a job at a motel as a cleaning supervisor. My auntie told me that John texted her to tell me that he dropped all my boxes of things at her house. I told her thank you and also that I'm sorry for taking up space in her house with my boxes. 26th of the 5th. I've been blessed with 2 jobs. After leaving John and having struggled since February up until now to find a job, I have been asked to come to a lot of job interviews. I have had emails and phone calls for job interviews and at retail stores and cleaning jobs. I decided to get my W.A.RSA, Responsible Service of Alcohol certificate, and handed my resume into 2 pubs. Both said they will give me a go. I decided to work at one of them, which is good because it's at night. I got a job at a motel as a housekeeper too, which is a morning job, so the jobs don't clash with each other. Also, the manager at the pub that I work at, because I'm working there now still, she owns a cafe she has the business across the cafe across the road, and I've been working there too. I feel like suddenly all the doors have opened up for me since I have left John. I'm still not entirely satisfied with the housekeeping job, only because it's cleaning, and most of the jobs I've done have been cleaning jobs, and I'm a bit over it. I will think of it as a stepping stone and a blessing. It is hard work doing housekeeping. The pub is a good job so far. It's just more mentally draining because there's so much to learn and memorize. My goal now is to save up bond money, then find a rental and move into my own place. I have been blessed living with my grandparents. They are good to live with. Nope. I think everyone is emotionally settled down now and are accepting me as a family member. I'm grateful to have somewhere for me and my cats to live. I have an urgent tugging feeling to finish this book and publish it, but my conflicted feelings are fear of getting into trouble or family finding out about it and banishing me forever. Which they have now, so it doesn't matter. I'm not sure what to do, but I want people to see that you are never stuck in life and you don't have to be a victim of life circumstances unless you really absolutely have no choice. For example, if you are codependent on a carer to look after you, but even then, you are still in control of your life. You can change things in your surroundings and change carer or whatever the circumstance may be. It's taken me around 3 years to write this book, and I'm still writing it, by the way. I'm not going to read all that because that's not relevant. Quitting one job, 29th of the 5th, 2024. 2 days ago, I had hurt my lower back doing the housekeeping job, so I decided to resign. The manager was okay with it because people always come and go with that type of industry workplace. I quit because making so many beds in a short amount of time damages your lower back. Me being tall makes it worse for me. I let the manager know for the pub job that I quit the housekeeping job, and she is giving me some hours during the day in the cafe she owns across the road from the pub. I'm so grateful to pick up hours close to where I'm living. I will be on my own behind the bar on Sunday night, which is a bit anxiety-inducing. I feel like life is slowly getting a bit better. I feel anxiety still, though, because I need stability. Living with my grandparents doesn't feel stable enough, even though it is stable. I feel judged when I do my food shopping because my pop makes little remarks about my shopping bags that I'm bringing in. He and Nana keep staring at my bags with disgust. They think I'm wasting money or something. But I buy cupboard food mostly, which lasts me a while. I also stock up on food because I drive all the way to Albany to do my food shopping because the shops here are way overpriced in my opinion and are price gouging the customers. Again, it's my opinion. I'll find a rental soon. I think I will end this book soon. Family I've seen so far. We're moving back to WA. When I moved back here, I thought seeing my family again would undo all my hard work of healing and letting go. But I am not affected. Well, I haven't seen my parents yet. Don't plan to either. I don't want to be put down and abused by them. So I like to keep my distance. I'll probably have to see them eventually, but not on my own though. I would go with other people for protection. Being around my other family so far is strange, and I feel like an outcast on a subconscious level because they don't ask anything about me or how life in Melbourne has been or anything. The only family I have seen so far are my nan and pop on my dad's side, one of my aunties on dad's side, and one of mum's sisters. And they all seem to side-eye me and hold back what they want to say or just don't acknowledge me. Maybe for a second, and that's it. They seem self-absorbed. I know it's not family, but I went to Dog Rock vet because one of my cats had a chest infection because my Nana Pop had the chimney going all the time and she was breathing in smoke. I saw a guy I knew from high school and he recognized me. I felt so ugly. I felt like shit that day. I felt ugly, didn't dress well that day, and now I feel ashamed to have him looking at me like that. He looked good though, which made me feel bad about myself. I haven't been to the gym for a long time now. I like to drive to Albany to go to the gym. It was just embarrassing, that's all. And it was very awkward. And so I haven't ended this book yet. I'm still writing it. The rest I'll read on my computer because I can't publish it because I'm still living in this place, which is temporary, and I haven't found a happy ending yet. But I still got more to read, so I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.